each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Happy sober Tuesday afternoon. Oh, man. Just did a podcast with Monty Man and Roger. You guys will meet them. Pretty cool dudes. Yeah, good stuff, man. These things always get me very elevated. And then Community Reach Center reached out. They want us to come and talk to 7 different locations and talk to the professionals there about Alcoholics Anonymous. I will grab Adams County next. Then we will move on to Aurora Mental Health. Then we'll get West Pines. See, it's starting to work. It's all finally starting to fall together. Amber, good to see you. I like that she's all scheduled. That means I'm here. I was here on time. Barely. Oh, the good old days. You know, not everything that ever happened to me while I was drinking was bad. I had a lot of good times, man. I have a lot of good memories. Not everything, was always based around alcohol. Well, I mean, 98% of it maybe, but but yeah, I've had some pretty good times. Or you know what? If it, especially in the beginning, I had a lot of good times. The being carefree, being able to be who I am. Hello, Claire. Claire says, "Jello, hello." They call me Mellow Yellow. Bum, ba, dun, dun. Right. But I really like the way this podcast went. Wasn't really a podcast as much as it was a radio show, which is what I'm going to kind of be switching to. Even my office is going to change here the next few months. A lot of cool things going on. My book is almost done. I need to put a couple more hours into it. I think about changing the cover on it. That's going to be the first of many. I'm trying to decide whether I think I might give the first one out so people get a good idea of what I do and then ask for donations. Or should I charge $5 for it? What do you folks think? What do you think? And if you haven't read it yet and I've sent it to you, I'd read it before you're charged. Actually, if you already got it, it's going to be kind of hard to charge you for it. Do I put it in paperback? Well, do I just stick with digital? But it's going to be a series, and they're going to be small books. They're going to be like this size, not this long, right? But this size is what I would like. Little pocket books, right? So, and then here in probably going to be about 2 months, the Trudging Together T-shirts will be for sale again. I'm getting a new order of T-shirts going. There we go. Starting to work. All right. There was something. What do you guys think of the name The Rising Phoenix? I think that's what I'm thinking about naming some of my stuff. The book series, maybe. Now, the Phoenix, the first time I got sober, I was in a place called the Phoenix Concept, and so it's kind of, the name itself is kind of dear to me. That when the Phoenix came out, and they are a workout place for people in recovery, it kind of ticked me off because they opened up like 2 blocks away from the Phoenix Concept, which is something different. They kind of took the name and yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna do a quote here. All right, Roger just said this in the podcast. I really liked it. It says, "Truth without love is brutality." So truth without love is brutality. Love without truth is hypocrisy. So, yeah. Amber says you got yourself a little Dion in your pocket. There you go. You won't be the only one. Welcome to the Daily Trudge, not suitable for children or people that get offended easily. Actually, the second one's not really true. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name's Dion. This one can't go past 20 minutes because I got to get to the doctor for my wrist. It isn't hurting as bad today, which kind of scares me because then they might be like, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. And so, anyway, if you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching live or the rewatch. All right. I've decided not to put the chat overlay during these anymore. I can still see it. I will post them as they come up. But I've been posting these and I don't want to blow your anonymity. Not my job. So that's why I'm doing it this way. The good old days. Like I was saying before, not everything was bad. I had a lot of fucking fun. I did. Sure I did. You know, but part of the problem was this. I kept trying to recapture the glory days. All right. The first time I drank with other people, I started out drinking alone. No, the other people didn't do that. My drinking career. This is how my drinking career started. I thought I was an adult. I was 13 years old, same age as my grandson, my oldest grandson. Oh, that's really scary. And my mom would come home from work, and her thing was she would go upstairs and start to drink. She had a TV in her room, and she would do what all alcoholics do, including myself. She would pass out. And about 9 o'clock at night, after I put the kids to bed, I'd sneak into her room. I don't know, I have to sneak. I grabbed 2 beers. They were warm too. How did I think about it? I didn't know that beer came cold till later in life. All right. And I'd have 1 beer watching MASH, and I'd have the other beer watching Taxi, and I would head to bed. Like I was some adult. But the first time I drank, went to a party, drank around other people, the effect was, man, I went from not being liked to everybody loving Dion. And the peer pressure is going to override anything. Nobody ever liked Dion. I never really had any friends before that. And then I would find out that they weren't really friends. They didn't really like me as much as they feared what I did when I drank. Anyway, right? So that was the first time Dion was ever welcomed in anything. And to me, it was the world. At that moment, in my little 13 years of living in this world, it was a big deal to me. And I would chase that moment for the rest of my drinking career. That was part of the problem. Never for it to ever happen again. Now, why did it never happen again? Because you cannot experience something new twice. Unless you have dementia. Or for me, I'll watch a TV show and a year from now I'll go rewatch it because I'll remember like parts of it, but I don't remember any specifics. My wife remembers specifics and things like that. It's often I even have to go from one show to the next, be like, what happened? Because my brain tends to kind of compulsively race even while I'm watching TV. And if I don't go out of my way to focus, then I don't remember. But such is life. And I did so much drinking. There's some of my memories that they're just gone, especially around the last 6 months to a year of my drinking. I don't remember it. I remember bits and pieces. It'd be watching like clips of my life that don't make any sense. Hey, Mandy. Mandy says forever 13. You are correct. Fuck forever 21. Hell, I was 2 years sober, 3 years sober. I'd already been a drug and alcohol counselor by the time I was 21. My 21st birthday, my new wife, I just got married that summer in July. But my new wife had left state. It was a family thing. There was a death in the family. She had to go. My mom came over with a cake. We watched 90210 and Melrose Place. She left. I went to bed. That was my 21st birthday. Right? Trust me, I did plenty of partying for my 21st birthday way before that. So no need to feel bad, but I didn't get those rites of passage like other people got. And you probably didn't either. But the point is we can't live in the past. Good or bad. Michelle, give me a link and time to your podcast. The podcast has been done. It'll be out sometime today. And when the link shows up, what I will do is I will put it in the Dion is Live Now chat for you guys. But if you follow my stuff, you're going to get a notification. Oh, trying to pop it. Actually trying to make it hurt a little bit more. There we go. It does hurt like it's supposed to. I know it needs to hurt. If it doesn't hurt, they won't do anything. And this will be the third time I've tried to get it taken care of. But I would make the appointment and it'd be like 2 months out. By that time, it wasn't hurting anymore. And I'd show up. They'd be like, well, nothing we can do. I'm like, don't you believe in preventative medicine? Because I sure the fuck do. Anyway, we have to create good. We have to create new good old days. Things that we can remember fondly when we, when a little bit more time passes, And recovery, it's still life. Life is still happening, right? So life is still happening. And it's about creating those memories in recovery for us. Not just for us, but for the people around us, right? We talk about generational curses, but what about generational positive things that continue moving forward? Like love, understanding, respect, unconditional love, holding space for other people, letting know that other people in your life that are important to you. For me, my main job is making sure that my kids and my grandkids get what they need on an emotional and spiritual level. And that's how we work. That's how we work things around here. Just like my son helps his mom a lot. She runs a cat shelter here in Colorado. It's in Lakewood. If anybody needs a kitty, just let us know. It's a no-kill cat shelter, right? And he sends it to me, and that was the word I was looking for, Mandy. Thank you, patterns. And he sends me this thing. Hey, this is our TikTok. I don't do much on TikTok, right? But I followed it. I don't care that it's being run by my ex-wife. In fact, let's help her out a little bit. We try and do those things. And I told him I'm not on TikTok much, but I'll follow it to support. Yeah, can help out with that, right? But yeah, Mandy says some patterns are worth duplicating. Yeah, those. Let's see what here. It's bothering me, so I gotta do this. What is the opposite of curse?
According to dictionary.com, antonyms: benediction, blessing.
Yeah, so an antonym. It's an opposite word for it. So generational endorses and generational benedictions. But I like this one, generational blessings. So instead of worrying about those generational curses, we can work on those things by creating generational blessings instead, right? Right. And it works. It works. All right. Now, what happens when you create new good old days and you're sober, you're reinforcing it in your brain. And then your brain will go for those instead of the alcohol or the drugs or the food or the gambling or the sex or the crack or whatever it is. All right. Because what we're working with here is telling our brain that there are certain things we don't do here anymore. Every now and again, you know, every year or so, I'll get a couple new brain cells. And I have to remind them that we don't party around here because they appear that way. As soon as they come in, they're like, okay, it's time to party. I'm here. Well, we don't party here. What? Then they get a little disappointed. Then they find out how wonderful life is, and then they just join the game. Yeah. So the more things that we go through that we count as blessings while we are sober, what it does is it reinforces that part of your brain that tells you that's the way that we do things. Then it starts to take character building, humility, acceptance, and honesty, and those 12 traditions that you follow, and it'll turn it into a working everyday. It'll turn into a life of just doing it. Okay? When you go through problems now, alcohol doesn't come up, does it? It is no longer a solution, is it? Isn't that nice? Isn't it refreshing? All right. Now, there are some generational curses that we can break. There are some where we can only do the best that we can. There are some things that are kind of passed on. I believe, and it hasn't been proven yet, but my experience in talking with a lot of people and myself, I believe I was kind of born with this disease. Right? Is a belief, it's an opinion. But my experience kind of tells me, Mandy says, even on the toughest days, I know I'm blessed and I worked hard to get there. Yeah. And it goes from I have to do this to I get to do this. Alcoholics get very excited when they find the tools, that they can use that work in a much better way. We get excited about that. So a lot of us, when the chance comes up to be able to use that, sometimes we will even go out of our way to be able to go use these tools. Like with setting up these meetings with Community Reach Center and, asking them to let us come in and tell the professionals about AA. Even things like that, as us going out of our way and getting other people excited about what we do. Right. Michelle says, it's awesome not to turn to alcohol. Mandy says, we work to integrate some traits we can't change. Yeah, to our benefit. Yeah. Like with my own children and stuff. They saw, there was plenty of time that they saw how dad wasn't doing things the right way. But now they get to watch dad do things the right way. So for me, it's even more. Did we have to go through something arduous together? Yeah, we did. It wasn't easy. But now they get to see both sides. And that helps them make a decision on what's going to be best for them. Right. I mean, what I try and do here is just let people know. I try and give people the information so that they can make a decision for themselves, but a good decision. So, I'm big on going to meetings and things like that, but recovery is a lot more than meetings and sponsors and steps and traditions. It's about taking those principles and utilizing them in everyday life, about maybe making somebody else's day a little bit better. A little bit better. Right? So, all right. I think that's good on this one. I said it was going to be 20 minutes. It's been 20 minutes. I got to make a phone call and get ready for the doctor's appointment. So thank you all for being here. Mandy, it was good to see you. Michelle. So I know we had Amber was here. Clara was here. Good to have everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And have a day.